Yes.
Okay, good afternoon. Sorry, good morning or afternoon and evening, depending on where you're joining from in the world. It's so nice to be here. Thank you so much, Deji, and the Zero Resources team for having me discuss this topic with the house. I was going through the chats when people were dropping their location, and I see a couple of people from outside Lagos, outside Nigeria. Thank you for joining. I also see a few of my people in the house. Toyin, Ayobami, Temitope, thank you. Thank you for joining. So we're going to have a good session today. We're discussing influence without titles, leading change from any seat, just like Deji had introduced. And I find it's a very interesting topic to discuss because many times we're in that illusion that, oh, nobody gave me any responsibility. I'm just here. I'm just going to do my job, do what they asked me to. If they didn't send me message, let me mind my business. But we are going to be discussing how your business is the spotlight of leadership. Your business is adding value, driving change from wherever you are, regardless of the title they give you. So we're moving beyond the traditional idea that only titled leaders can drive significant impact and change. So let's go on as we get into the discourse. Next slide, please. As you know, my name is Dr. Motola Dayo-Adedapo. Here are a few of the things that I do in my role as I'm currently the head of HR at Sterling Financial Holdings, like Deji already said. And I also wear a couple of hats outside of that as well. I lead the team at HR Talent Hub. I'm also a certified leadership coach and leadership and career coach through the Career Leap with Omotola D expression. And I sit on a couple of boards. I also lecture and facilitate at Rome Business School. When I'm not doing all these things, I'm either speaking or training at different conferences and events. So that's a bit about me. Let's move very quickly to the next slide. Thank you, DJ. Let's move. Okay, let's move. This is the Career Leap with Omotola D outfits, through which I drive my coaching and mentoring activities. So we're saying that there's this quote that I like so much by Simon Sinek. It says, a leader without a title is better than a title without the ability to lead. So what's the purpose of carrying big titles when there's no real impact? So what is leadership? Is the fact that we're able to drive change, we're able to add value from where we are, depending on, regardless of who we're called. So that's why I love the fact that what really makes you a leader is the ability to drive change, is the ability to drive impact. So a leader without a title, when you think about it truly, is better than having a title without the ability to lead or drive real impact. Next slide, please. So we're going to look at a couple of things in this session, and we're going to look at the fact that wherever you find yourself, whether in workplace or in meetings and conferences, your influence, real influence goes beyond the hierarchy. We're also going to look at how to empower individuals at any level to lead and drive impact, and how to build trusted influence using credibility, empathy, and communication. Next slide. So, the traditional belief, it's from generation to generation, time and time again. Once we hear leadership, what comes to mind? What do we think about? Someone in position of power that, makes rules or gives direction, everybody follows. Every time we hear of the word leader, we picture somebody at the top, somebody at the helm of affairs. If I asked you, just call up a leader in your space. If I just put a quick exercise here, because of time we won't do that, but if I had asked, so just call any leader, any random leader that comes to your mind, you're most likely going to call someone in a position of authority or in a position or in a capacity of influence that has a title, that has been given a mantle and a role to say, you're leading this pack. Have you ever felt the limitation when you're trying to implement a brilliant idea at work? I'm sure if we go around the room, everybody has that story to tell. So we're saying that the world is shifting. This used to be the case where if you didn't have a title, no one was going to listen to you. If you didn't have an influence, no one was going to listen to you. But the essence of this session today is to unlock your inherent potential to be a change agent. And the fact that when you talk about leadership, for us, for me, as we're having this discussion, we want to see leadership from a different view. We want to see leadership as a sense of responsibility, as a sense of ownership, is a sense of acceptance of the fact that you are and you have the potential to be, you have the potential to do in any sphere that you find yourself. Yeah, let's move on very quickly. If you, at any point you feel like asking questions, just drop your questions in the chat. I believe we can type in the chat and I'll take your question. Being able to influence is the ability to motivate, to inspire, and to drive change. And now when you do that without titles, it means you're motivating, inspiring, and driving change without relying on your positional authority. Now, note that I said positional authority because the fact that you have an authority does not mean authority isn't just always when you're given a mantle. You can have authority without having a position. It is all in the way you carry yourself, it's all in the way you understand what you have, the gifts you have, the potential you have, and how you can use that potential, that giftings in your sphere effectively. So without necessarily relying on positional authority, because there are different types of authority. There's the authority that is inherent. There's the one that is built. There's one that is acquired. There is one that is built over time, where you just exude that sense of responsibility, commitment, ownership, and authority without it necessarily being positional. And how do you do this? It's about earning respect, earning trust. We're still on that slide, DG. It's about earning respect, trust, and being able to collaborate through how you show up and not the role that you hold. Influence flows from who you are, not your title on paper. And as we move on, we will see what we mean. You don't need it. I love this quote that says you don't need a title to make a difference. Now, what is influence? You don't need a title to make a difference. You need purpose and you need action. Now, what is influence? We're saying that influence is grounded in 4 key things. Number 1, trust. Number 1, credibility. Number 1, relationship. Number 2, credibility, your relationships and your communication. Now, what is trust? Just hold on, stay on the slide. Trust is how, we all know what trust is. Trust is that thing that you have, that people have in, the belief that people have in you, that you're a person of your word, you're a person that is reliable, that can be depended on. And if you're able to gain trust with a certain group of people, you're most likely to a very large extent able to influence, because then they believe in you. When you say something, they can believe that you know what you're saying. They can believe that you are telling them exactly how things are supposed to be. When you build credibility over time, credibility is you have good things to your name. You have good records to your name. You're always constantly seen doing good things, doing the right things. That's credibility. You built a name for yourself in that people can trust you, people can depend on you, people can rely on you, people can believe that you are who can be listened to. When you build relationships through empathy, emotional intelligence, positive relationships, you're able to manage communication, you're able to manage responsibilities and relating with people. You're on your path to being a person of influence, because that means that people can trust you. That means that people connect with you on a certain level. There's affinity. Through your networks and relationship, you've proven that you're someone that can be relied on. So these are toolboxes. These are synonyms. These are ways that you're on that journey of influence. Yes? Next slide, please. So before I move on, I'd like to just pulse check in the house that we're flowing well. The conversation is going well. So if I'm too fast, can you drop it too fast in the chat? If I'm too slow, can you drop it too slow in the chat? And if I'm just right, then just give me just right in the chat. I just want to check that we're together and I'm not moving faster or slower than the pace that works for you. Yeah, so just drop it just right in the chat if I'm just right, and I'll be checking the chats myself. Okay, so let's move into the power of influence. And what does that mean? Influence is the ability to inspire, persuade, and guide others toward a desired outcome. Yes? Even when you don't have direct reporting lines or formal power over them. Now, we're speaking in the context of a workplace. How do you drive influence in your workplace without a title? You're able to inspire, persuade, and guide others toward an outcome, even when you don't have direct reporting lines. It's about getting people to want to or follow your lead, not because they have to, but because they believe in your vision or approach. And now this is very profound for me. It was saying that influence is being able to get people to follow your lead, not because they have to, not because they're mandated to, but because they believe in your vision and approach. That's why before talking about influence, you have to build trust, you have to build credibility, you have to build relationships, because these are the building blocks on which you can exercise influence in your sphere. There's what they call sphere of influence. That's the sphere that you are operating in on a daily basis, the people you meet, the people you work with, the people you talk to. So how are you able to drive this influence? Is by building trust, credibility, and relationships, like we said earlier, and being able to leverage that trust, credibility, and relationships to inspire, persuade, and guide others toward a desired outcome. So that means that there's an outcome. There is something you want to achieve. And because you have built trust naturally, you have built credibility naturally, you are able to get people to follow your lead without necessarily being the leader. And not because they have to, but because they believe in that vision that you're trying to achieve, or the approach that you have taken to reach out to them. Now, I was saying individuals don't need a corner office. You don't need to be the head of something. Many times you have heads of departments that you're wondering what exactly is in your head. What are you really heading? What is the content of character, the content of the magnitude of value that you're able to deliver? I only respect you as a head to the extent of the value that you're able to deliver, to the extent of the people that you're able to impact and influence, and to the extent of the results that we're able to achieve by you being on that seat as the head. So many heads, you find out you're wondering, okay, you're leading people astray. You're not really leading them anywhere. So you're as good as head of fish. You know, we joke about that in my space. Yeah. So we're saying that influence is not about issuing commands. It's about building consensus, inspiring actions, and guiding without explicit authority. It's the art of getting people to want to follow your lead, to buy into your ideas, and to collaborate on a shared vision. Now, this statement is so profound. And I'll go over that last paragraph again. It says, influence is not about issuing commands. It's about inspiring action and guiding without explicit authority. It's the art of getting people to want to follow your lead, buy into your ideas, and collaborate on a shared vision. Now, there's something interesting when you start your career as an entry-level professional. You're an intern, you're an associate, you're an assistant, wherever you are. The kind of behaviors you will demonstrate as a leader 5, 10, 15, 20 years into your career, it starts from the very first day you walk into your first job and how you position yourself to act in that first job. So we're saying that it's not when they put on a mantle of leadership on you, they announce you as, oh, you're now the CFO, you're now the technical director, you're now the logistics manager, you're now the senior manager operations and whatnot and whatnot. That is not when you start to demonstrate leadership. That is not when you start to demonstrate influence. Like we said earlier, the behaviors, the ethics that grow with you as you grow in your career, you have to be deliberate from it as at this point, wherever you are. Because those are the behaviors that are expanded. If you're saucy as a junior, you'll be saucy as a leader. If you're brash as a junior officer, you'll be brash as a leader. If you are not creative, if you lack emotional intelligence, if you lack the ability to interact with people positively as a junior officer, those are the behaviors that will go with you even as you enter leadership. That title you're given or that position of authority that you're seated in, it is not a magic wand that suddenly strikes on your head and suddenly makes you start behaving the appropriate ways. So how you galvanize people, even as a junior person, even as someone who is not seated in authority, is the same way people can truly follow you when you get into that position. And that's why we must realize, even as leaders, even at this level, we must ask ourselves, When people listen to me, when people follow the things that I say, is it because they're afraid of the seat I sit on? Is it because they don't have a choice? They have to, I'm their head anyway. Or is it because they are truly connected to who I am, to what I stand for, to what I drive? Ask yourself, will people still do these things for me if I were not paying them salary? Will people still do this thing for me if I were not sitting on this seat? That's a litmus test for your influence as a leader. And I say to people all the time, if people remove the salary, remove the benefits, remove the association with you, or remove the association with your title, will people still listen to you? Will they connect to your vision? So for those who are already leaders in your spaces, I need you to ask yourself this pertinent questions to do a litmus test for your level of influence in your role. And for those who are not yet leaders, who are still, or who have not yet assumed position of leadership or a title or a mantle of leadership, use that in building, in aspiring to lead for the right reasons. Ask yourself, even where I am now, how much influence? When I speak, who listens? When I talk, who wants to hear? When I share my ideas, who is interested in listening to what I have to say? When you ask those questions, it tells you, are you demonstrating influence from where you are? And if the answers are no, what can you do? What are the gaps that you can bridge to enable you rise to a position of influence where what you say is heard, your voice is listened to, what you say is accepted to a very large extent. So let's move on to the next slide. Next slide, please. Deji, are you there? Okay. Hi, Deji, are you there? I'd like to confirm that I'm still audible. If anyone from Deji's team is there and you can still hear me, I hope I'm still audible. Okay, what I'll try and do is to share from my end. I can go through my slides from here, but I need to be sure that you can still see my screen. Is why I want to try and share from here. Okay. I don't know if anyone from Deji's team is there and can hear me. Present. I just did that. Okay. I think.
Yes, me now.
Sorry?
Yes,
Okay.
can you hear me?
Yes,
I
I
think
can
it's just
hear
a
you.
network lag, but it's on the next slide now. Can you see it now?
Okay, you're on the next slide now. Okay, awesome. So I should stop presenting, yeah? Okay, I'll stop presenting. I had tried to share from my end. Okay, so let's look at leadership from a traditional view and what the modern realities are. From a traditional view, leaders were often equated with formal titles, hierarchical and direct authority, and influence was seen to come from the very topmost people in the organization. But nowadays, we see that with leadership, we have flatter structures. More organizations have become less hierarchical, fostering more collaboration. There is more agility. There's a lot of project teams coming together and anybody can be appointed the lead. You have squads. In my own organization, we form squads and the most junior person in the room can be the head of that squad. We don't keep authority and decision making for that project to only the senior people. We identify intelligent people and then they're put as head of the squads. You have complex challenges where problems today are rarely contained in one department and then multiple people come together to try to solve that problem. Next slide, please. So that's just comparing what we used to have with what we have in nowadays. So influence versus authority, can we look at that? Influence comes from trust, credibility, and expertise, whilst authority comes from formal power, title, and hierarchy. Yeah, so influence comes from trust, credibility, and expertise. Authority comes from formal power, titles, and hierarchies. Others, influence comes from when we compare influence to authority, people listen to you because they want to. That's real influence. But with authority, people do what you say because they have to. Influence is long term, authority is short lived. Influence is used by anyone, authority is only used by those in position. So let's look at it critically. Would you rather exercise authority or you'd rather build influence? Let's look at this critically. Having formal title and hierarchy, people listening to you because they have to, having that short-lived. And when we say short-lived, if you look at people who were once leaders, and now that they're no longer leaders, no longer in position of power, their relevance has gone with the last role they took on. That shows that authority is short-lived, but influence is long-term. Influence is a legacy, it goes for a lifetime. So, and also we say that influence, anyone can drive influence, but only those in authority can, only those in position can drive authority. Authority is given and influence is earned. Next slide, please. Next slide, Deji. So let's look at some core pillars of influence. Number one is competence and credibility. We've spoken about the building blocks, but let's look at some core pillars. And this, we're saying that this is the bedrock of influence. It's about excellence in what we do as individuals, being highly skilled, knowledgeable, consistently delivering reliable, high quality work. You can't command influence if you've not done justice to competence. If you've not spent time building capacity, building capabilities, being good at what you do. Because people have to be able to listen to you from a place of knowledge, from a place of you know exactly what you're saying, you know your onions. So for people on the call who work in organizations, you're able to make a lot of sense and you're able to be heard or listened to when people know that this guy knows what she's saying, what he's saying. This lady knows what she's saying. This person is good on their job. Nobody's going to listen to a non-entity who has not spent time building competence. So the first thing is competence and then credibility. So continuously learning, continuously delivering on assignments. We give you a task, you deliver it at the time slated, and building consistency in that is part of how you're able to drive influence in your space. Credibility, being trusted, being able to be held by your word. The second one is relationships and trust. When you're able to build genuine connections with your colleagues, peers, and managers across different departments. I know that a lot of us introduced ourselves as career professionals, so this is very real in your day-to-day. How do you build relationships and trust? Are you the person that you find it hard to even greet in the morning when you get to work? When they say, go on, when you're being put on a project, nobody wants to work with you because you have an attitude that's, like we say, an attitude that stinks. What do people say about you in your place of work? What is your brand? What is your brand story? How do they describe you? As a difficult person? As an easy to work with person? As a respectable, cautious person? These things might be hampering on your influence if you're not checking them. So that's why I usually advise a SWOT analysis, but we'll look at it as we move on. Communication and persuasion. It's not just about talking. It's about communicating effectively, communicating at the right time, using the right tone of voice, the right choice of words, the right body language. That might be just the difference between speaking and communicating with influence. If you're just talking and you're not intentionally crafting the things you say, the people you say them to, the way that you say them, it means that your words are going to be lacking influence because you're not intentionally crafting them the right way, saying them to the right people at the right time. Yeah. So when you have an audience you're going to speak to, you ask questions around who are the people I'm speaking to? What are the ways I can properly connect with them, communicate with them? Being persuasive and convincing in your statements, in your utterances, it's a skill that you need to learn. And that's how you become someone of influence. Proactive and problem-solving mindset. Are you the person who's always seeing problems, always seeing issues, always complaining about others? Or do you see solutions in every problem? And that's how you become a person of influence, because you are a go-to person when there's a problem that needs to be solved. And you come with solutions all the time. So how do you become proactive? Being an initiator, identifying challenges or opportunities before being told. You spot it, you see something, you say something, and you move toward fixing it. You don't wait to be told what to do all the time. You propose well thought out solutions and take the initiative to move things forward. These are the things that help you become a person of influence in your organization. And this can be built by observing and identifying bottlenecks, inefficiencies, areas for improvement, areas that require solutions, and being able to come with one and going to the right person with your solutions. Volunteering for projects, anticipating needs, and just moving towards solving those needs. Next slide, please. So these are the core pillars of influence. There's some leadership myths. Number one says, I can't lead if I'm not at the top. That's a myth. You can lead from wherever you are in your smaller space. First of all, how do you lead yourself? There's something called self-leadership. Self-leadership means taking ownership of work to be done, delivering work on time and in full, being committed to the vision of your organization, right? So the position myth is a myth when you think you can't lead if you're not at the top. Number two is a destinational myth, or the destination myth. When I get to the top, then I'll learn to lead. There is nothing like learning to lead when you get to the top. By the time you already get to the top, it's too late. Because if you've not built leadership capacity, if you've not built leadership behaviors, even when you are seemingly at the bottom, you can't suddenly fall on you when you get to the top. Because when you do that, it means that you're leading just from a position of authority. You're just driving authority, not impact, not influence. The behaviors that drive true influence are built and garnered and imbibed even from when you are at the quote bottom level, right? The influence myth. If I were on top, then people will follow me. They will follow you because they have to, not because they want to. And that's just authority. That's just power play. So they are following the title, not the person. They're following the position, not the impact that this person stands for, this person drives. It's also a myth when you say, when I get to the top, I'll be in control. That's inexperienced myth. So it means you're only seeking control, not real influence and impact. There's also the freedom myth. When I get to the top, I'll no longer be limited. I'll be able to do what I like. And that's why many leaders are messing up and abusing their power and privileges, because they don't feel accountable. No one can hold me. No one can question me. No one can stop me. I have the autonomy to do whatever I like, and I'm not answerable to anybody. These are the reasons why leaders are badly behaved, and leaders destroy more than they build. They break more than they build because they feel that they're answerable to no one. So if you're that kind of leader here in the room, it is time to turn around. It's a bad practice. And if you're someone who aspires to be that kind of leader, where you no longer feel like someone has to handcuff you or someone has to force you to do things, I can't wait to become a leader so that I can do whatever I like. It's a myth. It's a lie. It's a very bad behavior. The potential myth. I can't reach my potential if I'm not the top leader. This is also something that people use to deceive themselves a lot. You have potentials welled up inside of you that you can express without being officially given a title. So when two people resume in an organization on the same day, and you see one person constantly does the right things, constantly wants to learn, constantly seeks to learn, constantly asks questions, constantly wants to get involved with projects, constantly spots issues and problems and suggests solutions. And you see the other person who's just waiting to be told what to do, right? Who just, if they don't tell you, you don't do, and you're just like, I beg, no be my papa gets company, no be my father's business. At the end of the day, let me collect my salary and go. 30 days make a pay. No sense of commitment, no sense of passion, no sense of ownership. Just imagine both people. Who do you think will make a better leader? Person A or person B? Who makes a better leader as they both grow? Your guess is as good as mine. The person who already inherently leads himself is more likely, more going to be successful leading others, because then you are holding yourself to the same standards as you expect from other people that you lead. The all or nothing myth. If I can't get to the top, then I won't try to lead. Next slide. So these are just myths. These are limiting beliefs. These are lies that we tell to ourselves that stops us from truly building impact and influence. Now, we see people who get into positions by connection, by who they know, by their father's name, or by who they're associated with, and they haven't really merited it, right? But for me, it's not about how you get into that position. I'm more interested, and you should be more interested in what is the impact that you can drive when you're in that position. When you're in that position, are people listening to you only because you have a title, or because you have built a personality that people respect, that draws people in, that people can relate to, people can connect to? Now, notice I've not said anything about being liked. I've not said anything about pleasing people, because leadership, when you truly look at it, is not about how many friends you have. It's not about being liked. It is, first of all, how many relationships have you built? Now, there are different levels and kinds of relationship. Not everybody has to be your friend. And we're not talking about just being friendly with everyone, but in building genuine relationships. Now, many times you can't remove affinity from relationships. So when we say that you're not just going to be focusing on friendships, we're saying don't what's the word now? Don't compromise your beliefs and principles on the altar of friendships, because you're not going to be liked or be friends with everyone, but you're going to recognize this is a space that I can make an impact, and I'm going to build and sustain positive relationships in this space. Now, I hope that we're not mixing it up, and I hope that we're not confused. If anybody at this point has a question, or you need me to clarify something, please put it in the chat. Now, I've spoken about self-leadership, which is very, very important for anybody who's going to be of influence or lead anybody. What defines you as a leader? Who are you as a leader? What are your strengths? What are your skills? What are the things that you are passionate about? Because leading others begins by leading yourself first, holding yourself accountable to doing what is right, being a person that is reliable and dependable, being able to gain trust. It is important to have this as a person. Developing the self-awareness to lead yourself first with full knowledge of your strengths and weaknesses. Embodying purpose, starting with your why, and defining the how and what. So why are you here? Why are you doing this? Why is it important for you to lead? And why is it important to hold this role and drive value in this role? What are the areas where you need to grow? So that's where SWOT analysis come in. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges. And we'll look at that as we go. I need to move fast now because of our time. I understand. Deji, I understand I have an hour. I started speaking at 10:15. So do I have an hour from 10 or 10:15? Whilst I wait for your response, let's look at Malala Yousafzai. This is just an example. So this lady, for some of us that might know her, she started as an anonymous schoolgirl blogger, spoke out for girls' right to education, inspired millions of people worldwide through courage and conviction. And she became the youngest ever Nobel Peace Prize winner laureate without ever holding formal power. Now, this is an example of someone outside the shores of Nigeria. Within our own spaces, we've seen a lot of people that maybe they've just trended on social media. We just heard about them, and they just did something of of impact, something of influence in their own spaces. And that's what we're talking about. That's the true measure of leadership. Like John Maxwell says, the true measure of leadership is influence. How many people are you able to galvanize? How many people are you able to steer towards doing the right thing? So this is an example, and we have so many of them around us. Next slide, please. So there's a shift in mindset that is required. We've spoken about when we said, what are the myths? What are the things that are untrue? Now, in moving away from that mindset, we require a mindset shift where we ask ourselves, where can I add value? Who can I support or inspire? What change can start with me? I'd like us to put this in the chat because it's a very valid question. What change can start with me? Can we put that in the chat, everybody? So write that in the chat and ask yourself, I'll write it down. Think about it over the next couple of days. What change can start with me in my own small circle, in my organization, at my desk, on my table, in my family, in my school, in my church, in my neighborhood? What change can start with me? Next slide, please. What change can start with me? So let's watch this quick video. I hope our audio is connected. Deji, there's a video here that I'd like us to watch. Please play it and let the house watch it.
All right, just a moment, please. Yeah, it's going to come up now.
So whilst we wait for the video to come up, I see that we started writing responses or the question in the chat. What change can start with me? So keep it coming. Write that question and answer that question. Thank you, Samson and Aji. Thank you, Temitope. I see your responses. Deji, are we ready?
Just a moment, please. It's okay. Just loading from my end.
Yeah.
So we have some comments. We have comments.
Yeah, I'm seeing them. What change can start with me? Keep it coming. And as you write that, you answer it in your notepad, in your mind. But I recommend you write it down. And you can think over it over the next couple of days and start to see how you can change your space. And that's how you build influence.
Right.
So Deji, do we have a hard stop at 10? What's the max that we can stretch?
10:30.
10:30. Because I was asking because I don't know if with LinkedIn Live, if you have to stop at a particular time.
Not at all.
Okay.
The video is not playing.
The video is not playing. Have you had cause to chat me on WhatsApp this morning? I could drop it. I could drop the video itself.
Okay, please.
Did you chat me on WhatsApp this morning?
Yes. No, I didn't, but I will chat you right away.
Can you do that now so that I can drop the video for you on WhatsApp? Okay. So, let me see if... Oh, it's dropping as an image. Sorry, just a moment. I tried to send it, but it was dropping as a just a moment. Okay. Okay, so you get it now.
All right.
Okay. It's loading. We can go to the next slide and come back to that. So once you get the video, wherever we are, just start playing the video. Well, if you're
All right,
are you still sharing your slide?
Yes.
Move to the next slide. We'll come back to the video, but check your WhatsApp. Once you get it and you're able to download it and you're able to play it, then you can go into the video in a separate, you get what I mean? We'll play it outside of the slide. Yes. So let's go on with the slide. So we'll come back to that video, but let's go on with the slide. So on that video, it's a summary of, when we watch that video, we'll see it was how a young boy was able to get the entire neighborhood to do something because he started it. So let's reflect. So the idea was to reflect on the video. What challenges? So still writing on the last question that I asked us, what challenges do you see around you? So this is an action plan you can take on in building influence. What challenges do you see around you? Who are your potential allies? What's small experiments? Let's just, for lack of a better word. And when will you take your first step? So think about, the first question is think about a challenge currently happening in your space. It can be at work, it can be in your church or your school, like I said. It can be on your team, and you can be the smallest person on your team, to be very honest. You can be the most junior person. But what do you see as a challenge in your team that nobody has addressed or nobody is willing to address? This is a very practical way to exercise influence in your space. What challenges or challenge do you see around you? Deji, are we good now?
We have the video. Yes.
Okay. Is it playing from your end? Okay.
Can you see it now, please?
Yes, I can see the video. I hope the house can see it as well.
सर आपके लिए उस पार कार का इंतजाम किया है सर आइए सर ये चल चल फलक पकड़ के उठो और हवा पकड़ के चलो फलक पकड़ के उठो और हवा पकड़ के चलो I hate this country. तुम चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले 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 लगा हाथ के सूरज सुबह निकाला करे हथेलियों में भरे धूप और उछाला करे ओ लगा हाथ के सूरज सुबह निकाला करे हथेलियों में भरे धूप और उछाल करे उफक पे पाँव रखो और चलो अकड़ के चलो उफक पे पाँव रखो और चलो पकड़ के चलो फलक पकड़ के उठो और हवा पकड़ के चलो फलक पकड़ के उठो और हवा पकड़ के चलो फलक पकड़ के उठो और हवा पकड़ के चलो तुम चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले तुम चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले हिंदुस्तान चले चलो
Awesome. Okay, so thanks for playing that, Deji. So that video, I don't know how many people understood. I took us to Bollywood. I hope you had your popcorn. Sorry, I didn't announce ahead that you should have your popcorn. Right, but I took us to just watch like a 90-second video. It's a clip talking about leadership. And from what we saw, for those of us that understood the acting or the screen, what we saw on screen, there was traffic. It was a rainy day. Everybody was in their vehicles. We saw people complaining, shouting, why there's traffic and all of that. But did we see that young boy, that very little boy? I just was wondering what was going on through his mind. Did he actually think he could push that log of wood off the road. I don't know if he thought he could do it or if he thought he couldn't do it, but he just got there and did it anyway. No questions asked. Nobody told him. He proactively saw that there was a blockage, there was a hindrance, there was a problem. And that problem was causing a ripple effect. The consequences of that problem was a very long traffic on a very busy day. Everyone is frustrated. And he took initiative, got in the middle of the road, no mantles, no big hats, nothing. And then he went in there and said, you know what, I'm going to try and push this. Do we realize that adults didn't join him initially? It was the little boys of his age that joined him. And when the adults now saw that children were doing it, what did they do? The agbayas, pardon my language, came out of the vehicles, came out of the shops and huts, and then came out, and everybody now started to pull. And that was when the problem was solved. That's when we got the result. But it took one person, one young little boy, thinking to say, but we can approach it this way. For those of us who are Christians, forgive me for taking us to the Bible, but what comes to mind is the story of David and Goliath. You know, he dared to say, I'm going to challenge this monster. And he did. So we're saying that it doesn't have to be the armor they put on you, or the title, or the mantle, or, you know, that big position that you're in. Something as simple as being able to identify a problem in your day-to-day, where you go and resume every day to get work done, being able to identify a problem in that space and being the person to go in and try to solve it, or recommend solving it, or push the initiative and ideas that you can use to solve it. And many times it's not about taking the credit, because many times you might not even get to have the credit. Your boss might take the credit, but it doesn't remove anything from you. And I thought to say that because many times some of us are discouraged from taking initiative, because when you finish taking the initiative, no reward, no recognition, no bonus, no credit. Many times that is your reality. But hello, that doesn't mean that you stop doing it, because even if you're not getting rewards and bonus and benefits and credit in the immediate, you are building your character. You're building credibility. You're building your ethics. You're building your creative thinking, your problem-solving abilities. So leave the instant gratification of the fact that you are driving influence. Whether nobody else knows it in your organization, your boss knows it. That boss that decides not to give you credit knows it. So whether it now gives you visibility for everybody to see it or not, you know that on that particular instance, you win. Because guess what? Something has been deposited inside of you that nobody can take away from you. So still walk with your shoulders up high, even if you get lashed and bashed for that thing you did, even if you don't get credit, even if nobody recognizes you or rewards you for it. Let the fulfillment of a problem solved, let it be your reward. Let the satisfaction of value added, let it be your reward in that instance. And I feel led to say that because many of us, the reason why we don't bother with doing things is because of how corrupt our spaces are, how toxic our spaces are, and the fact that when we try, nobody sees it. Yes? But my charge to you, my encouragement to you is, let the satisfaction and fulfillment of value added and problem solved, let that be your reward as you build your voice and as you go higher in influence. So I hope we learned something from that video. Back to our action plans. What challenges do you see, or what challenge do you see in your space? Who are your potential allies in helping you solve this problem? What experiments can you start with? What's the small thing you can do? What are your quick wins? And when will you take your first step? Notice the 3 W's. What, who, and when. Very important. Yes? Next slide, Deji. So how do we debunk this phenomenon of titles only leader? Some people don't believe that they're leaders unless they have titles. Formal authority is the power vested in your role. It gives you the legal and hierarchical rights to tell people what to do, to approve or disapprove, to assign tasks, and is usually top down. But influence is earned, not given. It's about being able to convince others, like we said earlier, through your credibility, through trust, through relationships and communication skills. So it's not necessarily top down. It is bottom up, lateral, from anywhere. Anyone in the room can do this. And what isn't there more joy? What is the joy in you have a position of power, you give a command and people follow? Isn't there more joy in your very small space? Now, if in that video that we watched, if what we saw was, oh, the king in that town came in and ordered his boys to come and move that pillar or to come and move that log, would there be any joy? Will we be excited? Okay, yes, you're the king, you've given direction. Okay, congratulations to you. That's why you're here anyway, to lead. So there's no joy in leading as a leader, but there's more joy, there's more excitement, there's more delight, there's more fulfillment and greatness, significance in the fact that the smallest person in the room, like that boy, is able to find a problem without it being his job. He proactively identified a problem and made the move to solving it. And that small little boy, without saying anything, just by actions, people were able to watch and get on board. There is more joy in that. So that's where I want us to focus. Even if you're already a leader in your role, let it not be the titles doing the talking. Let it not be the positions holding the power. Let your true power be in your person and be in the light that you shine as a person in your space. So titles create resistance, not buying. People comply out of obligation, not out of commitment. Titles don't guarantee commitment or innovation. And just because someone has to do something doesn't mean they'll do it with passion or find innovative ways to achieve it. And titles many times make you ineffective because there's complexity and it's just complex, right? Titles grant authority within a specific reporting structure. And sometimes authority will not work where collaboration and influence will do the job. Because when there's a mission to be accomplished, true collaboration and commitment is what will get the job done faster and what will make the impact more lasting than when it's just the authority that is in the room, right? Next slide. As we get ready to wrap up. So what are the pillars of influential leadership? Building trust through authenticity and expertise. Trust is your greatest currency when you lack formal authority. Let's learn to show up with honesty, humility, and consistency. Know your craft. Competence builds credibility because when you are competent, people can trust that you will deliver. And when people can trust that you will deliver every single time, that's how you build credibility. Let people see both your humanity, your humility, and your excellence. So you're excellent in what you do, but you do that thing you do with heart. You do it with humility. You do it humanely, and people can genuinely connect with you. Number two, you leverage relationships to create impact. Those relationships are your unofficial job title. From the very first day you resume in an organization, you're already a brand. You're already demonstrating a brand. You're already building a brand, and you're already building relationships, either for the positive or the negative. So create more allies, build more, in quotes, allies. I try not to say friends, because many times you have to be strategic with the relationships you're building. Not all about friendships, but genuine connections. On what level do you connect? If you're going to connect as friends, fine. If you're going to connect as co-workers who are connected to a shared vision, that's totally fine. But define your relationships. But at the very least, build positive relationships with everybody. Positive. For a positive goal. Influence happens one conversation, one connection at a time. So focus on, you've won this person, you've won this conversation, not with arguments, but you win them over as allies. Very important. Take your time to understand people's needs, motivations, and working style. Collaborate, don't command. Collaborate, don't command. Not many people can do this. Collaborate, don't command. Lead by example. And this is how you build influence in leadership. So initially we talked about the pillars of influence. Now we are talking about pillars of influential leadership, because you can be a leader and still not have influence. Is anybody with me? Who agrees with me? Who agrees that you can be in leadership and not build influence with that leadership? This is how you build influential leadership. Leadership that drives influence. Leadership that people can connect to. Leadership that they can respect. So lead by example. You don't need permission to lead. You only need initiative. Influence comes from what you consistently do, not what you're told to do, and not what you say. Be the kind of person others want to follow. Someone that is visible, dependable, and value-driven. And leadership is a posture. Leadership is how you present yourself, how you show up. It's not the promotion that makes you a leader. It's the attitude, the posture, the charisma, the personality that your leadership delivers. That's how you lead. Yes? Next slide, please. Leading without titles as an individual. What are the positives? What does it do for you? It helps you enhance career growth because you show up in rooms that you enter with a leadership mindset. It increases your job satisfaction. When you know that you are adding value in your place of work, your job satisfaction increases. Job satisfaction doesn't always come from pay and benefits. It doesn't always come from salary increases and promotions. Many times, job satisfaction comes from knowing that you are genuinely adding value in this place and your voice is heard. But you can't be demanding for rewards and benefits if you're not truly, genuinely driving value. Now, I know that it is a reality that in many places, you'll be driving value, but nobody wants to see it because you have toxic leaders that are suppressing that value and are either threatened or intimidated by your value, that they do everything for you not to feel that you're doing anything. Yes, that's a toxic workplace. That's outside of what we're saying. But naturally, ideally, you want to measure your worth in an organization by the kind of value you add. And that ultimately improves your morale, motivation, and job satisfaction. Being able to lead with influence increases your professional network because where you have credibility, your name moves faster in rooms. People can vouch for you. They can recommend you. They can refer you for job roles. They can refer you for gigs, for contracts, for consulting contracts. I mentioned earlier that I wear double hats, both as head of HR in my organization and consultant in the other space that I lead. And many of the consulting projects that I've had to work on come from someone who knows me, knows that I'm competent, great at what I do, not just good at what I do, and I've built a positive relationship with them. So these pillars are real. It is my reality on a day-to-day. In fact, I usually say that I've worked in 7 organizations in my 9 to 5, and it was very early in my career, my very first job, that I had to apply for a role. Every other role that has come after that has either been from a referral, a recommendation, they came into my LinkedIn DM and I was headhunted and I was just poached because either they saw the good work that I do or somebody told them about the good work that I do. That's in my 9 to 5. Same applies in my consulting practice. And not just in my consulting practice, in my coaching as well. In my coaching practice as well. I coach career professionals, I coach leaders, and many of the coaching clients I've had to work with have come from somebody told me about you and said, you're good at this, you're great at this, the way you coach them. And that's how you build impact. That's how you build influence. Someone just gets into our email, sends a message to the team, oh, I heard about your course. We run an academy at the HR Talent Hub, and then I just get people enter my DM. Oh, I heard about this course because I heard about it from someone who bought the course. So different ways like that. And that's how you build a reputation. That's how you build an influence. That's how you build impact. From doing good work, from being competent and great at what you do, the referrals come, the recommendations come, because people can vouch for you that you are good and you're dependable. You have the right, you built the right character and the right relationships. So when we encourage influence in organizations, there's accelerated change and innovation. There's improved employee engagement. Problems are solved better, faster, easier, quicker. And the culture is strengthened. There's stronger culture. Yeah? Can we move to the next slide very quickly as we get set to wrap up? Key tools for influencing without authority. Build trust through consistency and integrity. Listen actively and understand the needs of others. Communicate clearly through stories, through data. Be able to communicate, collaborate and build networks, demonstrate competence and deliver results. Next slide. Next slide, please, Deji. So for me, my personal space, these are the things I believe in personally. Encouraging executive presence regardless of title. I coach and mentor emerging leaders because I believe in paying it forward, building the next generation of leaders. And one of the first things I say in my coaching and mentoring cohorts is, I challenge you to do a SWOT analysis. Identify your strong points. What are you good at? What are you passionate about? Exercise your ability to deliver value. And it comes from knowing your strength, knowing your power, knowing your magic, being able to share that magic with the world, knowing your key superpower and being able to communicate that superpower to change lives, to transform spaces, to add value and to drive impact. These are not just mere words. These are things that we must learn to practice. Like I said earlier, you don't need a title to make a difference. What you need is purpose, passion, and action. Next slide, please. When you look at this picture, what comes to mind? Because we're streaming, your responses won't come immediately. So I'll look out for your responses. But what does this picture say to you? When you look at this picture of Dr. Motola Dayo-Adedapo in my academic doctorate regalia, what picture does it communicate? I know I'll see your responses later because we're streaming, but I'll go on now. Next slide. Just tell me one word that comes to you when you look at that picture. Now, that picture is my present state. This was September 2024 when I got my doctorate. But it's a journey up until this point. It's a journey of building. I didn't always have the title Dr. Motola. I wasn't always head of HR. I wasn't always a certified leadership coach, leadership and career coach. I wasn't always a consultant. I didn't always have these titles. But I'm just going to take us 5 years back. Next slide, very quickly. Just a bit. So in my influence and impact, I have had to build. So taking it home to my own personal story now, just as we wrap up, I have had to build my own story. I've had to build my own influence and impact journey. And it started from one day in 2020, August 15, where I attended a session like this, where the late Dr. Ubon King was speaking to us and talking to us about purpose, about dreaming, about passion. And he said that a dream is not something that you see at night. A dream is something that keeps you up at night. And, several conversations that led up to there, but that was a light bulb moment. And then I identified purpose as my purpose identity as the talent builder. And that was when my influence and impact journey started. So that is when you come out visibly on social media to be someone who's recognized. But for me, I've always been big on adding value in my organization, adding value in my spheres, adding value in my church, in my neighborhood, in my school. I've always been that person that believes that leadership, you are called to lead, born to lead. Those were the mindset I grew with. I was born to lead. I'm the first child, maybe that's why, but I've always seen myself in that position of I am called to lead, and I won't wait until I'm up there to lead. So August 2020, I identified purpose, and I announced my first impact project on LinkedIn for 100 career professionals. Take us to the next slide. I'm just using my own story to buttress everything we've been discussing since we started. Next slide, please. So the talent builder, this picture was taken in 2020, but I got that. The talent builder there is a cake topper that some of the people I coached and mentored in 2020 made for me when I was having my birthday in 2021. So I kept that cake topper since then, and it's still in my living room till date, 4 years after. So I'm saying that the journey started here, where I came out with my very first of all, defining purpose, the talent builder, and defining all the things I wanted to do in my space, in my sphere of influence. Next slide. And then going ahead to announce it. So this post was September 1st, 2020. And then I'm September born. So on the first day of my birth month in 2020, I announced that, it's been a very tough year with COVID. A lot of people were laid off from work. They were laid off their jobs. And I want to just help 100 people. I said I wanted to help 30 people. I announced it as 30 people who were struggling to get jobs and all that. Every day of September, I'll have a coaching session with you, a clarity session, a coaching session. I'll look at your CV. I decided to do that 30 days of September for 30 people. That was the giveaway I announced on the first day of September. And before the end of the day, I had over 160 applications. And I said, you know what? I need to, 133 applications rather, I need to expand this. And I said, we can't limit it to 30 people alone, because I wanted as many people who applied to benefit from it. And that's how we expanded it to 100 people. So I woke up to 133 entries. I said that on my next post, and I said, oh my God, I wanted to help 30 people. 133 people are asking, they need this. So I said, you know what, we're going to expand this. So this second post was on the 2nd of September, and we expanded it to 100 people. And then I called for more people. Bear in mind, before this post, I had less than 100 connections on LinkedIn. So it shocked even me when I put out that post and it went viral on LinkedIn, on Facebook, it was shared and all of that. And I was surprised that, oh my God, so many people need this. And many people started applying. And long story short, we expanded it to 100 people. And I made another call for people who wanted to come on board and join me on that project to impact more people, because I couldn't help 100 people alone. So I announced it, and 22 other HR professionals, talent managers, and recruiters came on board that project. And together we did it for 130 human beings, career professionals, in 2020. And that's how, now this is my own personal story. I wasn't visible, I wasn't famous, I wasn't known on LinkedIn or anywhere. I was doing great work in my organization, but I decided that I wanted to do something of impact. I wanted to contribute something. It was my birth month. I had just defined purpose, who I am, and what I knew that I was sent on an assignment to do. And then I took action. So it's an identifying yourself, identifying who you are, what your strengths are, and then taking action towards it. And then I announced it, and that's where my impact journey started in the last 5 years. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who have either been in my training session, or I can say thousands who've either been in my training session, been on my leadership or career coaching, who've been a client in my consulting practice. The journey started from here, August and September 2020. And in my own little corner, I decided to do one thing blossomed into one very big thing. And from there, I started to discover myself the more. I started to shine my light. I started to put out my magic. I started to build relationships, connections, networks, and my impact started to grow by God's grace. And for the very first time, December 2024, myself and my team, we hosted a conference in 4 years of building influence and impact. So the possibilities are endless. We also just had a media community hangout where we brought together so many people, and lives are being impacted on a daily basis. We graduated our first cohorts of practitioners who wanted to come on board and drive knowledge in the HR space. We graduated our 5th cohort of our mentoring program all in this year. So I'm saying that the possibilities are numerous and endless, where you just take a step one day and say, I want to do something of influence. Next slide, very quickly. We're wrapping up now. So this is the Dr. Motala of today. But in 2020 was when I took my first step. So please write this in the chat. I am taking my first step today. It starts today. What is that first step you're taking? Today, 24th of July. What is the problem you identified? 5 years ago, I identified a problem. There was COVID. People were laid off their jobs. People were not getting jobs because there were no jobs. Companies were on shutdown. There was lockdown. So that was a problem I identified. And I identified one thing that I had, the coaching skill that I had, the mentoring capacity that I had to help people that were facing that problem. And that's how my own impact and influence started to grow. So what I'm teaching to you is what I practiced in my own day. And this is what the journey is today. And it keeps getting better and better from here. Amen. Next slide, very quickly, as we wrap up. Next slide. We don't have time to do this exercise. So let's move to, wait. So you can just think about it as we talk through it. You're a mid-level manager spotting an efficiency in your organization. How do you lead change? When you have peers that are resistant to change, what influence approach would you employ? So think about it and you can write it down in your notepad as you're listening to me. What is your executive presence? How do you show up at work? Who are your real influencers in your organization? Next slide. So what influence without titles look like? Being able to raise a concern thoughtfully and propose a solution. Being able to rally others around a vision or idea through communication. Being able to mentor new teammates without being assigned. Taking initiative. Being able to take initiative to fix what isn't working before you're asked. Acting with integrity even when no one is watching. So these are things I urge you to do today in your own spaces. Next slide. Very quickly as we wrap up. Practical strategies for leading change. Be a solutions architect, not just someone who complains all the time. Complaining never helped anybody. But the one person who stands and says, here's a solution to the problem, here's how we can fix it. That's the person that people want to listen to. Your complaining no help. Who you help? You no help anybody. But when you come and say, I think we can do it like this, then people stop and listen. Offer help and collaborate proactively. Share knowledge and expertise. Listen more than you talk. Build a strong internal and external network. Next slide. As we wrap up. Next slide. Next slide. Because of time.
Yeah, it's up.
Deji, are you still there?
Yes.
So I talked about, I talked about SWOT analysis earlier. Let's quickly look at that. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges. Take me to the next slide, Deji. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? What are your challenges? Write it down to understand how to move from here to there. Next slide. So as a career professional, these are 4 values you want to imbibe. Your ability, what are your abilities? What are the things you can do? What are your strengths? Agility, open-mindedness, being able to find something that is not working well and improve it. Being agile, being adaptable to change. Aptitude is the 3rd one. How do you continue to pursue learning? How do you exercise your brain power? How do you exercise your innovative capacity? And then finally, attitude. How do you show up? How do you interact? How do you communicate? How do you build relationships? Next slide. So in your different organizations, understand your business and think like a CEO. You're the CEO of your job and career. There's nothing like, no, be my papa get company. It's not my father's business. Yes, it is your own business. So approach your job and the responsibilities you're given in your organization as though you are the CEO of that job. How many people are doing that today? Just write it in the chat. I am the CEO of my job and my career. I want to see you put that in the chat. Next slide. Ownership means driving change, positivity, profits, and growth. So ownership is also how you drive influence in your organization. So what are our key takeaways? Number one, identify opportunities. That's what we've been saying. Look for gaps in your team and organization. Volunteer for impact projects. Mentor others. Share your knowledge in any capacity. Share your knowledge. It's not until you are the head of something before you can share knowledge. When you know something, say it. Open up. Open your mouth and share what God has given you. Share your magic. Bless the world with your magic, like my friend would always say. Stay authentic. Let your values guide your actions. Empathy and networks are powerful leadership tools. Bridge gaps, connect opportunities, lead from where you are. Next slide. Very quickly. So that's it. We're done. Thank you very much for listening. Open to any questions, if we can still take questions. But that's the end of the presentation. I hope it was valuable, and I hope that we learned something.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Motola. Yes, it's been an amazing time. It's been an inspiring and empowering section today with you. And to everyone that has been participating, engaging in the comment section, thank you for being part of today's remarkable conversation. And on behalf of my team at Zura, we extend our appreciation to Dr. Motola for delivering such a compelling and insightful section, right, on the theme for today, which is Influence Without Title, Leading Change from Any Seat. And if you have questions, reflections, or insights you would like to share based on today's section, please drop them in the chat, and also drop them in the chat, and Dr. Motola is happy to respond to as many as time allows. Please do not hesitate to do that. We look forward to that. As I think I think we have Alberto saying, well done, Dr. Omoti.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Thank you. And also, we, just to show appreciation again, we appreciate Doctor. Thank you so much for this inspiring section. And beyond the insights shared during this section, your story and journey continue to spark transformation in countless professionals, right? On LinkedIn, you see a lot of people sharing those comments. And it's one thing to teach leadership, but you build leaders. And that is what makes the name so significant, the talent builder. Not just a title, but a legacy in motion. So, and for me, it has been like an amazing time as well. I have a lot of reflections to make, right? Because you shared a whole lot of things, and I just want to make this known to everybody present that this section is recorded and you can find it even on LinkedIn, but it's going to be shared with everybody currently online. And you can get the recorded version afterwards. Latest by tomorrow, you are going to get that. So you can rewatch and watch, because this is not just a call to action. It's for us to engage and start practicing. Okay, I think we have a question here. So we have Babawale saying, my leader with the influence. Okay, it's a comment. Thank you so much for that comment. All right. And we have a lot of call to action, right? Saying it to yourself, I'm the CEO of my job and career in ownership, which has been a very great one. I think for me, it's just going to be like my watchword. Those call to action are going to be my watchword throughout the year. And maybe I can come back to Dr. Motola at the end of the year and say, oh, I've taken a lot of steps. And I think a lot of people can also do that. I'm encouraging everyone to do that. Let's, give back, let's impact. And also, we can reach out to Dr. Motola on LinkedIn for our feedback, for our testimonials afterwards. So please, if you have questions, I know that there might be time lag, especially since we are streaming. You can still drop your question in the chat, and we are going to, Doctor will even, I believe that Doctor can go back to the chat as well to respond to some of the questions afterwards. So thank you so much, everyone. It's been an amazing time. It's been an amazing time, and at Zura we are committed to helping forward-thinking organizations and individuals to unlock their performance through leadership development, talent optimization, and culture building. So today, let's everyone be a catalyst not just to reflect, but to act, right? Lead from wherever you are. Influence, as Doctor has mentioned, is a system. Let's inspire change and embody excellence with or without title. Thank you so much. And up until our next section, please let's continue to influence, let's continue to impact, and let's continue to stay future ready. Dr. Motala, thank you so much for this wonderful section.
You're most welcome.
Thank you for your time. And my
Most
entire team,
welcome.
we are saying thank you. And I believe that this has gone a whole lot. You can't even imagine the impact of of the story you shared, of the impact you've made, and also the one that you have even shared today. Thank you so much. And on
Thank you.
this note, everyone, we are going to be calling it a day. And